What's up, fellas?
What's
going on?
How are y'all?
Doing good, doing good.
So, I got Kris, Ryan, Cody Lee here, and they're with LA Classics. And man, I just wanted we talked about coming on, talked to y'all about it for a while now, and what you guys do with the kind of the classic car world is a little different and against the grain than most people do.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I really wanted to highlight that and then get to know you guys. Well, I know you guys. I've been knowing Cody for a long time. Kris, known you a couple years.
Yeah.
And man, just let's chat, dude. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Kind of got started through this, doing all the classic car stuff. I guess I got my car, 62 Ford Galaxy, in about 2011. And then, when did you get the Suburban?
2017, I think.
Yeah. So
What year model is that one?
It's a 68.
68?
Yes.
They've been making them that long? When did they start making them?
The Suburban started in the 30s.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And it was called Suburban?
dude, there are so many things called Suburban.
Okay.
Yeah, Suburban, Carryall. The nomenclature's kind of been, I don't know, it's kind of, I guess it wasn't really defined up until a certain period of time.
Okay.
But it's actually the longest running model name in, I think, American car history.
I didn't know that.
I think so. May not, don't quote me on that, but I think so.
No, don't search.
Yeah, we'll look that up in a second.
Google.
But yeah, I got that. Man, that was a project. Started working on that. Me and Cody I'd come to his house, we'd work on it there. And just over time of doing that, turned into something like, hey, we need to find a way to create something to where we can kind of have something to go to. There's a lot of clubs that get together and stuff, but nothing that really fit what we were looking for. So really just a reason to get together and have the cars out and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
What was that? I guess about 2016, we were looking to host our first little cruise in. Just something simple. Just something to where we could go drive somewhere, get these things out, enjoy them, go eat, hang out. And we did a cruise in at Buffalo Wild Wings. Didn't know anybody in the area. No other scenes on the market.
Y'all just put it out on Facebook or something?
Yeah, just put it on. We had like some flyers we had made
I had
up.
a bunch of, I think I went to Walmart or Office Depot or something and printed out like a stack of freaking little 4x6 flyers.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Slapped them up everywhere.
yeah, at the time I was cutting hair. I was working at a barber shop on base, and they had a car show. It was like a Father's Day car show that day. So I took a stack of those, passed them out. There's a ton of people out there. And I guess one of the people that got one of the cards called me. I didn't answer. Called Cody, and Cody was on like vacation in like Orange Beach.
I was sitting on the beach.
Yeah. And this guy reached out and was basically like, hey, CR hosting a car show. What club are y'all? I told him, man, Louisiana Classics, just simple right now. It's just something we created, just the two of us. Nothing big. He was like, well, we already have car clubs here. He's like, we already have established clubs. We've been here for over 30, 40 years. There's no need for another club. And Cody was kind of like, yeah, I understand how that is, but what we do, this is something we're doing different. He's like, no, yeah, but understand, like we have meetings, we have dues. There's no need for nothing else. You can just join our club. And that's kind of where we were like, hey, this isn't really what we want to do. That's the whole point. Like, we don't want to pay dues. We don't want to have meetings. Like, we want to do this on our own time. And could not wrap his head around that. So it went from that to just being like, all right, well, I think I figured out what we're going to do now. This is going to be something we do, whether it pisses people off or not. Yeah. And we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, I mean, before we kind of, I guess you could call it, made it official, we looked around, researched, and, talked to some people and was trying to see what was out there. And that's kind of what led us to the whole decision in the first place. It was kind of we wanted this to be something that was nothing else but fun. We didn't want it to be dramatic. We didn't want, issues. We didn't want little cliques and all this stuff. So it was like, that's what, we didn't want another job.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to have, who has time to go to a freaking meeting to
That's what everything is, man.
Car stuff. Man, get in the thing and drive. That's what it's for.
But seriously, I mean, between working and families, nobody has time for all that. And so many people want everything to be organized, be here at this time, do this by this date. And realistically, with the people that have all these cars, half those people can't commit to that.
Yeah.
So why not create something that, we can get together, and if you can make it, cool. If you can't, no biggie. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, that's another thing
no
with those
low
groups.
balls.
With those groups, it's similar to like when I was in the MC for a long time, which is another thing, but still similar things.
Very
like
similar.
you don't show up, it's like the guilt trip you because you got a job or you got something. Man, we're doing all this. It's like, look, man, we're just trying to do this shit to get together and hang out. It's not supposed to be this whole ordeal that's governed and fucking political.
Not knocking the dedication for some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I respect it and I get it. And, I mean, if that was what we were going for, then, then we would have done something like that. But that's not the goal here. It wasn't to, to make somebody feel like they were tied down and like, you got to do this. I mean, if you want to come on. If not, like you said, catch you on the next one, man. No big deal.
And no disrespect to those people. Like, if that's how you want to run that, kudos to them. We will never shun anybody.
Yeah, but fuck that. That dude called talking. Man, fuck that. I'll say that.
So that's kind of why when we rolled into it, when we had logos made and everything, that was kind of the motto we came with. No dues, just cruise. It was the fact of there's no rules tied to this.
Yeah.
So you'd be amazed at, like, even that showing, we had people from that club show up to our deal, and they were like, man, this is awesome.
Right.
Like, what's the fees? Or when's the meetings? When do we got to be here for this? And we're like, what? No, this is late. This is it. Show up if you can, and that's it.
So y'all don't charge no entry fee for a car show or nothing?
Nope.
So you just y'all throw something. Well, it's just like y'all put the big trick or treat thing, trunk or treat thing on every year. It's actually a legit trunk or treat. It's not no fucking.
But at the end of the day, it's a hangout. It's something. It's a reason to get together and do something.
Yeah. Well, I've just dabbled. I've been dabbling in that with business just to bring community together. When I'm helping business market, I'm like, okay, we can do a car show. You guys have been to a couple of them, so like that's always been a thing, and it's more just getting people together. That's what it's about for them. It's like the business promoting and getting people there in front of the business. It's not about what type of cars, but it gets so crazy. Like Dylan, which y'all know, but you've already created your own space to where you don't have to worry about that. Right, But like putting these open shows on, man, it's like everyone gets so pissed about a $10 trophy. Like they want that $10 plaque, and they were mad because like I had this one dude blowing me up about not creating like an import class, and I was like, well, look, man, it's kind of broad. Like this is a classic car show I'm doing, and I'm not doing a full-on car show because we don't have room. You got to do classic. So I know older shit like everyone can't just show up in their pickup truck, and say this. I want to show off.
You got to set something
right. And so he's blowing me up, and he's like, man, you need an import class. I was like, all right, look, I'll make a classic import class because there's a couple old Porsches that'll show up and shit like that, and they'll fall into that cool. Man, there was 2 imports out of like one of those cars y'all were at. It was like 50 or 60 cars.
Basically, they want to be guaranteed.
Yeah, and I'm just like. I was like, I low-key didn't want that dude to place either because I was just like, this dude started all this bullshit.
Well, at that point, then it's a participation trophy. Like,
right. It's like, dude, like, that's not what these shows are like. But I get it, man. I do get it. But it's funny, the older folks, man, the old timers, bro, they'll, them old schools, bro, they get so upset.
There's
you got a rest of my class, but you don't have a hot rod class. And I'm just like, look, fucking man, I'm just hanging out here trying to help these people out. Like I'm not.
You can never do enough to make it to where they're going to be satisfied.
Yeah.
You can set up 1,000 classes and it's still not going to appease a certain crowd of people. And I mean, there's tons of constant like, hey, you should host a show. Y'all should do this. You should do this. That's what comes with it.
Yeah.
And, dude, that's too much of a headache to deal with it. And there's no avoiding it.
It is funny.
And I've dealt with some. How I got into this shit. Somebody asked me to judge some shows, and then I've been a gearhead all my whole life. But like, someone asked me to judge a show. I was like, okay, and I was like, the one we did. I was like, man, there was so many overlap in all these classes. It took us a good damn near 2.5 hours to judge like 50 cars, which is way too long because there's so many class overlaps. And I was like, if I ever do this shit, I'm going to simplify it. And that's just when I try to help promote one for somebody, that's what I do because man, it's just too many moving parts.
Yeah.
But what you guys do is nice because you just roll up. It's like, what's up?
And that's another thing too. And then you'll have like, even in a lot of those clubs, there's so many rules on, some of them aren't big on airlift suspension. Some of them don't like big wheels. Some of them don't like the patinaed rods. There's so many rules that we don't want that. Like, if you're a purist, you're welcome with us.
Right.
But in a lot of places, what we have is not welcome where they're at. So to each his own, but we'll set this up and do our own thing.
Well, another thing I like about you guys is you actually drive your shit.
Yeah. Not going on the trailer.
You're not trailering it. No. You don't have no AC. You rolling that shit.
No. That's our you really wouldn't call it an inside joke, but we joke about like going to cruising the coast. So I mean, we pack up and roll out, and you get there, everything's still in one piece, and it's like just makes it that much sweeter. It's like, because you don't know. We hope it, we expect it to, but I mean, you don't know.
Yeah, I guess most people trailer all the way down there. Where do they offload at if they trailer? Anywhere? They just.
I mean, it depends on where you're staying at down there, because cruising gets crazy.
I would think, because you offload, wild. Dude. I gotta go next year. I want to go so bad. We'll have one of our vehicles ready to go, and we'll go. But like, I guess most of them trailer and offload somewhere, and then just roll and then come back.
Yeah. I mean, either at their house or hotel, wherever they're at, they'll just leave it there for the week.
Right. Yeah, that's something that is interesting though, because you'll see those people. They'll roll up to those shows, and y'all been to the shows, so it's funny, and you participate in them, and the guys, as soon as they get out, like a shed of water got splashed on them. Oh my God, run over there.
Wipe it down the whole time.
Look, I get it. I do have, like, that's on the projects we're working on. It's like, I don't want, like, we're finishing up that LJ and that Jeep, but like, I don't want it to be so perfect that I don't want to drive it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem you run into, because you do want to restore. If you do want to restore it and make it nice, it's like. It's like, what do I do? Like, how far do I go on restoration if I'm actually going to drive this thing?
Yeah.
Because if you go that far to where some of those guys do, where you're over $100,000 into a build on a car that probably, I mean, if you roll off maybe at $50,000, but you've already put double what it's actually worth in it, then like, do you even want to ever get it out of the garage? And then what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
It's like, are you going to look at it?
I wish I had the money for something like that, but at the same time, like you said, like, you can't enjoy it at that point.
Well, I think about that all the time, because I'm working on that old Toyota that I have, and I'm constantly working on that thing, and it's just like, I want it to be drivable, but if I keep going, at what point am I like, okay, well, now I'm supposed to put a whole damn engine in there. Well, now I want it flawless. Well, at that point, it's like, I might as well take it to the auction.
It'll fucking snowball quick.
Yeah, dude, I know. I remember going down to y'all's house. Y'all was working on race cars shit all the time.
Yeah.
And so, is that how you got into it?
Pretty much. Dad started the dirt track stuff, and then my middle brother got into it, and now my little brother, my youngest brother, he's still into it, on and off. He's had a few hobby stocks or factory stocks. He's had a couple modifieds. I guess really the thing that got me kind of hooked on it was the very first thing I ever pushed the gas pedal in was a 71 long bed Chevrolet pickup C10. So kind of like my Suburban, just a different year model. Dad had that truck. I don't even know how long he had it, but the truck's name was Whitey Bob. It was a piece of shit. It was just an old farm truck pretty much, but so that and the dirt track stuff, and then just being around it. I mean, everybody had, something they were always tinkering on, whether it was a daily driver or a hobby or whatever. So just always wanted to get into the wrenching and gearhead stuff. And then actually what was that? 2014 maybe 15.
Yeah, when you got the truck.
No, when I went to cruising for the first time with you.
Oh yeah.
So the first time I went to cruising the coast, it was like the fire was set again. I'm like, it's on.
Yeah, we would go to. We've been going there since 2011. My cousins lived down there, and we would go stay with them. And I told him, I was like, look, you got to come just for a weekend. You don't need to have anything there. Just come for a weekend. And I told his wife at the time, I was like, he's gonna come back with something more than likely. I'm just telling you. And sure enough, it wasn't like the following year. Cody had done caught the bug and was ate up with it. He's like, this is what we're doing. But you go down there and it will sell anybody.
Yeah, I've still got the truck. I bought a 68 3/4 ton GMC long bed truck. And running and driving, bought it out from a guy out of Benton right there off Highway 3. Cool old truck. Just a old East Texas farm truck. At one time, I had a big old camper in the bed and stuff. And it's not, the body's solid, but I mean, it's, patinaed, surface rust and all that good stuff. And my idea was I was just going to turn it into a kind of like a rat rod truck, pretty much. Not really rat rod, but just keep it old school. And I guess that's kind of when the patina stuff was really blowing up and getting hot. Everybody was doing the leaving the original paint and kind of just buffing it out, smoothing it out a little bit and touching it up. I didn't want a long bed. The short beds are what everybody wants.
Yeah.
So we kept going, and I never got it to where, I mean, I wouldn't jump in it and drive it like I do the Suburban. It's got a 307 and a little 4-speed manual in it. I'm not saying you couldn't. I just had never gotten into it like I did the Suburban to make sure that it could.
Yeah.
So
you still have it?
Yeah.
Oh, so you just run that around every now and then, or what?
Yeah, we play with it. I think it's been a while. My little boy, the only reason I hadn't sold the truck is because my oldest son, Grayson, I have that, and you remember the 85 Toyota that I had?
You still have that thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. Does it run?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So that was my high school truck.
Yeah.
I guess not technically my first vehicle, but me and Dad swapped. So the first vehicle I actually got when I was able to drive was a 70, I don't remember what year it was. It was a Ford F-100 when they still called the bigger trucks the Ranger. I hated it. It was two-tone green. It looked like a freaking booger slapped between two pickles. Ran on propane, so I couldn't go to the freaking gas station and fill up. I had to go all the way out to Cotton Valley to where my grandpa worked at when it needed to be filled up and get propane put in the toolbox. It sucked. I hated it. Dad bought that 85 from Eddie Bourne in Heflin, and we started tinkering with it. And then I begged him, and we swapped. So he got the old Ford, and I got the Toyota. But anyway, so the Toyota and the 68 GMC are sitting on my place in Marshall. And my little boy would go out there, and he called them his monster trucks.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, shit, I'm not gonna sell them. Maybe he'll want to mess with one of them. So
yeah, that's cool. What about you,
man? Dude, as a kid, my dreams were like the big body cars. I wanted the longer the better, the Lincoln Continentals, the Cadillacs, all that. And I remember I was working valet at Diamond Jack's Casino at the time, and somebody came through, and it was an old Cadillac, and I got to talking to him, and immediately, I went back in the key house and just got on Craigslist. I was like, I got to find something. And I found a 62 Ford Galaxy in Dallas, and it was pretty beat up. It had been through about 5 different owners. Mm-hmm. And
it's still not that bad.
No,
for
it's not bad.
You think about it.
It was a project for sure.
Yeah.
It was going to be a lot more work than I planned on, but we got it. And immediately realized, like, hey, parts for these are so hard to come by. I'm going to need like a parts car or something. So about that time is when I reconnected a relationship with my biological dad. So I met him at like 21. And he has been a mechanic his whole life, Ford mechanic, building transmissions, motors, whatever. So that kind of became like a reconciliation project kind of between me and him, where we kind of got to rekindle all the lost time we missed out on. And obviously he's a heck of a mechanic. So this was like, hey, I'll help you with this, but at the same time you're going to learn, like, this is what we're doing so you can work on it yourself.
Yeah.
So between like him and Cody tinkering, and it's just like self-taught on stuff. And I was looking on Craigslist for about probably a year after that, and I found a car in Ville Platte, Louisiana. And this guy, it was like an old grain. It was like one picture on the ad, grainy picture, like he took it off his calculator or something. Like, could not see what it was, but he had it listed at $3,500. And I was like, man, I don't need like a full car. Like, I just need a parts car. So I lowballed him and offered him $1,500. And he was like, no, can't do it. So I watched it for like another year and a half, and it was still there. Yeah. So I messaged him back again. I was like, hey, look, if you're still interested, I was like, $1,500. He was like, I tell you what. He goes, you show up with the trailer, I'll give it to you tomorrow. I was like, cool. So I didn't message him back anymore. We loaded the trailer up and took off that morning. And I called him about 30 minutes out, and I was like, hey, where do you live? He was like, what time are you leaving? I was like, oh, I'm almost here. He was like, oh, okay. So we showed up. He pulls a tarp off of it, and this thing is like immaculate.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, okay. So we kind of looked at each other, and I was like, man.
Don't fucking say no. Let's get out of here.
No, don't say that. So
I just need a parts car.
This piece of shit, I should have offered you $1,000.
I do see it is pretty low. But I remember I was like digging through the glove box, and he still had like the original owner's manual. He had receipts in there from like 62.
So he was the original owner?
Well, so the guy that was a sheriff there in Ville Platte. He had bought it original, and he drove it from his house to the substation every day, and that was it. You can tell they didn't have kids in this because the back seat was immaculate.
Right.
Like nothing wrong with it. And the guy passed away, left it to his grandson, and his grandson had zero interest. So he left it in that barn all these years. So the kid goes to work. Well, he tells this guy, he's like, hey, look, where's the nearest wrecking yard? How much do you think I can get for having a vehicle crushed? And the guy was like, what do you got? So he told him, and the guy was like, I'll tell you what. He's like, don't do that. I'll give you $800 for it, sight unseen. Kid was like, okay, that's fine. So the guy didn't even need it. He had like 3 projects of his own. He just didn't want somebody to ruin it. So he buys it and then just sits it at his house
for
the rest
running?
of the time. Yeah.
So he never drove it either.
He never drove it either. So when I get there, we're getting ready to like winch it on the trailer. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, it'll start. He gets in there and pumps the gas and turns the key and it starts right up. And I was like, so immediately at that point, we had already pulled the motor out of my first project.
Yeah.
We were rebuilding that. Well, this car is immediately like, this isn't my project car anymore. This is the one we're going to work on.
Yeah, that's your parts car.
Yeah, the other car is my parts car.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
So how many miles was on it?
Oh, man. It
only drove like from the...
It was only like 30, 40,000.
Holy shit,
yeah.
man.
And it had like a small 292 motor in it. We had already pulled the 352, which is another option in that car. We had already pulled that and started rebuilding the transmission. So basically when we got it, it was just pull that motor out, drop in what we were already working on, and I'm ready to go. So it saved us a ton of time on that.
And it was the same red color it is now? Is that original?
That's original paint? Original color. And it was real like dusty at first, but we just buffed it out and original paint still on it.
No shit. That's crazy. I didn't know the story on that car.
Yeah,
what about your Suburban? What was that? Where'd you find that one at?
So,
Josh, will you pull that up too real quick? What did you say earlier? Josh, he has stepped out about the Suburban.
The longest running
name used.
Yeah, so the model name.
Find out the longest running model name.
I'm finna fact check you.
In American vehicle history.
My palms are sweaty.
But yeah, where'd you?
Longest running what?
So it's gonna. So look up longest running vehicle model name in American history. Yeah.
It's gonna be a pen.
So now on the so where'd you find it at?
It come out of Plano, Texas.
Okay. Was it running already when you found it?
Yeah. So when I bought it, it was pretty much
Suburban. That's it. You're right. All right, we're good. He was sweating. Somebody was gonna fucking call you out in the comments, bro.
You don't know your shit.
They were just waiting. They're like, I'm just waiting for these LA Classic boys to fuck up.
Yep.
Let's get them.
But no, I can't remember the fellow's last name. His name's Jason. He does Texas show promoters. When I still had Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, he does a bunch of he pretty much promotes any auto, anything with a motor pretty much that they do shows. He like kind of started a deal where he put it out there and help get it going. But he posted the Suburban for sale on his Facebook one day, and like I happened to be scrolling through there and saw it within, I don't know, a couple hours of him putting it up there. And I was like, dude, I wanted a short bed. 67, 68. I like the front ends and the grill, the hood and all that stuff. And when I saw that thing, I was like, why am I wanting a truck? I've got a wife and a kid. Like that's the ticket.
Yeah.
So I sent him a message. I was like, look, if you've still got it for sale, I figured that thing would be, because it looked great. He did a couple walk around videos of it sitting there idle and everything, and said if it hadn't sold, I'll be there in the morning. And he was like, all right. So talked to a buddy of mine. We loaded the trailer up behind his 1 ton and took off the next morning, and got out there, and it was pretty much a no-brainer. The thing was great shape. It's not, I tell everybody it's good from far, but far from good. The paint bodywork that you see on it now it's how it was when I got it. The interior's pretty much all the same. Hadn't really done much.
But you did a lot to it to make it the way it is now, though.
Yeah, you
could look at it and say like, oh, you didn't do that, but the work that's been done to it.
Well, when I got it, it wasn't but like a couple of weeks before cruising that year.
Yeah.
I bought it in, actually I think it was literally a week and a half, 2 weeks. I bought it in September, I believe, and then we went down to cruising. I drove it down to cruising that year.
Yeah.
Within the first week of October, but I took it down to Dad's, and we pulled the top end out, pulled the intake, valve covers, and everything off, and just got an idea of what I was dealing with. Made sure it wasn't a pile of shit waiting to explode.
Yeah, especially for you go on that haul. Shit.
Changed fluids. Just kind of got everything freshened up, ready to go, and we rolled it. I took a gamble and hauled ass down there and made it back. So I was like, all right, cool.
Nervous
So then
wreck the whole way.
oh yeah. Then I start. Well, so it's got a little 283 in it. It won't get out of its own way, and it's got a 3-speed turbo 350 in it. So we drove from Halton, Louisiana to South Mississippi, doing 70, 75 in a Suburban that I've had for less than a month.
Yeah.
And just running the dog shit out
And
of
mind
it.
you, like my car has never been driven outside of like Shreveport Bossier
Yeah.
at that time, maybe to Homer or something. But
Yeah.
he was like, "Yeah, we'll just drive them down there." I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like these all the way down? Yeah, we'll be fine.
But
Let's do
That's
it.
what America was built
Yeah,
on, bro.
no,
you know,
no doubt.
Like,
No doubt.
that's what's crazy to me, man. I think. Well, I mean, people like listening and watching and don't. Maybe they're just like, man, it's just cars. That's cool, but like the craftsmanship in these years of vehicles before everything kind of went to shit. Like when everything started going to shit in what, the 70s, late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Like the craftsmanship in those 60 model vehicles, man, 50s. I mean, just the
even
fucking
earlier.
the lines, the shapes, the metal.
Well, it was more. It was all style then. It wasn't efficiency. Nobody.
oh
gave a
yeah,
shit about
that
fuel
was
mileage.
heavy as hell.
Yeah, nobody gave.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't matter. It was strictly style.
Well,
back
they're not,
then.
and they weren't driving those things like we do now, like hundreds of miles a day.
No, and
right.
speed limits back then, even on like your major highways, was like 50, 55
Right,
miles an hour. So I
right.
mean, 70 miles an hour. That like you're running from the cops or some shit doing that. But
No, they the way just when you look at something like man, like Putz and Paula, dude. Holy
Oh, yeah.
shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like when you see something like that, and I know those are very rare to find anything like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but just like imagine being that person walking into the car, like, you know, when you walk in the car lot and you're looking for a new vehicle and you're like, oh man, I really like this when you look at it, but every other one out there looks like it. But
Yeah.
you walk into the showroom and that thing's sitting there and it's just like, holy
Yeah, to
shit.
think-
Like I felt it looking at it. I was just looking at it. I was just like, dude, I'm talking about this is what it looked like brand new.
Yeah.
Like,
And to think that was like normal. Like even outside of that specific car, every car on the lot, the details that are in them is insane.
yeah.
Like from the fact of like the little knickknacks that they throw in these things, like little options that you could add back then. It's just like, what? They had the thought process to like put stuff like that in vehicles back then that like we're not even doing today.
Well, it wasn't, yeah, it was like unique scenarios that didn't apply. Like if you look at a vehicle now, it's all about like efficiency. So like every fucking vehicle has the same console.
Yeah.
Every vehicle has the same dash.
Yeah.
You know, it varies per model, but it's essentially
it's very.
it carries
it's all
over.
streamlined and similar.
Yeah, 10 or 15 different models all have the same exact thing, and it's like back then, dude, each year was completely different.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even
Sometimes
half a year. Yeah, you go to half a year and it's like, holy shit. And then like anything from just the analog clock being imprinted into the dash and just cool shit like that, man. And then the options that they would put on stuff that they wouldn't put on other things. And like, I don't know, man, it's awesome to look back like and see that. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I don't remember who it was. Josh probably does, but like, what do y'all think about what do you think about these recreation of these older vehicles? Like they're using the paint schemes and stuff for the older ones on the newer models. Like,
Yeah.
what do y'all think about that? I was talking to Dillett. That show's not out yet. We'll talk about it later. But yeah.
Spoiler alert.
No, it's all good.
No, I think there's a I think there's a fine line. I think some people do it justice. I think like some of it is done like perfect, and then some of them
Give me
miss.
an example.
I think the newer Broncos outside of the Sport Edition Bronco.
Oh, that was horrible. Yeah. Well, it's the
think
Bronco.
that's not a Bronco.
It's the Bronco too. It's the
Yeah.
Bronco too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's
Which
black.
still wasn't a Bronco.
But I think they did very good on that. As far as like replicating, and I'm just saying that because Cody and them have one.
Yeah, I was about to say I probably shouldn't speak on this because I'm going to be a little fucking biased.
real biased.
You got one?
Yeah, Ashley just got one.
What color did you go with?
That robin's egg blue.
Nice. So you got one.
Yeah.
Did you get the solid one or the two-tone one?
It's the blue with the white top.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it have the rims like the mag looking rims or just has no
It's
shit?
got the black with the old school. It looks like the old poverty wheel.
See,
with
I've
the
been
caps.
on the fence about this. I'm glad you're in here talking about it because I was just throwing that out there because I've been on the fence about seeing those and
No, I was too about the color and everything.
I'm on the fence. Yeah, but in the interior though too, it replicates. Like,
Oh yeah, it's got the the insert of the seats, like the bottom and the back of the seats, they have like the plaid imprint on them.
Josh, can you pull that up? It's a what is that? A 23?
Yeah,
23
is,
Bronco Robin Egg
Heritage
Blue.
Edition.
Yeah,
What is it called? What edition?
It's a Heritage Edition.
Heritage
Limited. They got the Heritage and the Heritage Limited. You can get the old school colors. They did the Robin's Egg Blue, if I'm not mistaken, was like a
Okay, so there it is.
tip of the hat to like the
blue,
67.
Right.
That's it. Okay, so that looks exactly like that. And does yours have the oversized wheels already like that? Like does it have like a 33 on there or something? Or what?
17-inch wheels and 35s is what comes on them.
So it comes like that. Mm-hmm. Can you find some interior pictures of that exact one? So it has a painted dash too that matches the
so the like
paint.
the top, like what would be the dash pad is kind of like a burnt bronze to kind of, I guess, play off the leather interior, and then the whole like main panel that you're looking at across is white. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
they did really good at replicating a lot of that era, but also modernizing a lot of it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So I feel like
there it is. So it looks like that.
Ford really did a great job, in my opinion. They kept it super plain and simple, like, you know, and I think a lot of folks are kind of knocking them for that because the Heritage Limited is supposed to be like the higher package or whatever, you know,
Yeah,
like
but you're not buying a Bronco as a
That's exactly what I said.
or like a
you know. They did really good at keeping it kind of catered towards a seriously capable trail rig or, you know, an off-road unit, but they did add some creature comfort stuff, and I mean it's got some nice modern touches to it, but they kept it plain and simple and that old school vibe with it, and I think they nailed it, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, I was on the fence about like driving by and seeing it, but I haven't actually physically like touched one in person or even driven one. I need to holler at you. I want to drive that thing because I've been looking at them, dude. Like, because once we swap up to the next SUV, whatever we're gonna get, like seriously considering those or something unique, man. Because I just hate having the same shit, you know, as everybody else. Like, I'm so weird about that.
I like kind of thinking about, you know, 30, 40 years, whether I'm alive or not, down the road, you know, what's going to be cool then that either is or isn't cool now, you know, because that's like, you talk about the older, like the old Broncos, for example.
Yeah.
Those weren't necessarily cool
no
back
one said
then.
nothing about that.
They were freaking.
I had one in high school out of '87. I fucking loved it. It was black with red interior. I loved it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they weren't cool then.
Well, but like the first gens, you know, the '60s model, the earlier '60s stuff.
Yeah.
They, I mean, they were like a freaking army jeep.
Yeah.
I mean, they rode like shit. They were capable, but nobody wanted that because they had all the cool cars and trucks that were around back then. So it was kind of
finding one today, though.
Oh yeah, but now they're, you know, they're super sought after.
That's something I think we all talked about this before, but the C10s are hitting the market hard right now, dude.
Dude, it's so crazy.
It came out of nowhere, though, right?
It goes back and forth, though. And it'll be like the 67 to 72 stuff will just be blowing and going. And then it don't really fade out, but it just kind of becomes stagnant. And then the square bodies blow up. And then it'll go to the OBS stuff. And it's just back and forth. But yeah, the Chevy pickup stuff, man, that's just like a super popular genre.
Well, I was thinking about this too the other day. Why is it? I was thinking that because you have the older people who are into the 50s and 60s model are getting because that's what they grew up driving or their dad drove. Well, now it's like we're getting in the era of people our age who, like, we grew up with our, you know, in the 80s or early 80s, late 80s, whatever, and people were driving those things. So those are becoming more like, you know, something we're sought after.
Nostalgia.
Yeah. But I saw one. We did that show, dude. I still think about that truck all the time. I don't know if y'all remember that. We did that Southern Loop show, and it was that black C10 there.
Yeah.
God, dude, that thing.
Yeah. Sweet.
With it had the houndstooth and plaid interior and all.
Yeah, he probably had 100 in that thing easy, dude. I mean, God.
Super nice truck.
But anytime you find anything like that, is that a 55? Anytime you find anything like that, any year model, when it's completely restored like that, even whether it's original, which most aren't, because to go completely original just doesn't make any sense because your suspension's shit, your steering shit, your brakes are absolutely shit. You know, so like you can't really go all original. Even when people say original, it's like it's really not because the suspension is updated and stuff like that. But when you see something in person that's been restored, I don't know what it is. For me, I get like a feeling of like, I wasn't even alive then, but holy shit, if I had been, I can only imagine what these people, what they attach emotionally to these things. You know, if that was what they were driving their first date in and to prom in high school or some shit, you know, or whatever it is, you know.
And that's the coolest part to me. Like when we go to these shows and making so many friends along the way, that's one of the deals that you do is you run into these people and then you find their story of how that vehicle came about, what that vehicle's purpose was before they got it. Like, we've got a buddy of ours, Jason, with Dead End Garage. They're out of Mississippi. He's got this badass Suburban supercharger on it. Like, this thing will
What year
roll.
model is it?
71 or 72.
Yeah.
17.
But that thing was used for like
a
Girl Scout. It was like a Girl Scout vehicle.
Okay, like to transport or
Yeah,
something.
I guess however it was for transportation.
So-
So,
and
so he
yours-
calls it Thin Mint.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But
the
this
green
thing
one,
is bad.
Yeah, it's
that
green.
green one, that's the color of his, green and white.
Okay.
And you
Yeah.
see it, he'll pull up. He's got roof racks on it with a giant canoe on top of it. And people will laugh at it like, "Oh, that's cool." And then he'll stop at a red light and, "Oh my God, dude, that thing is bad."
Yeah, he's got a sticker on his canoe, and that's what it says: is "Don't let this canoe fool your ass."
What yours is a 60,
68.
68
Yeah.
Suburban, and that's what color is yours? Is yours blue?
Yeah, mine's like
Blue. Darker blue.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's original paint too, huh? The original color?
no.
It's not original color. Okay.
No, my Suburban was actually the. I've always called it. I'm not sure if it's the right name or not, but it, like the Hugger Orange, kind of like the Chevy block, you know, the
yeah,
GM
yeah,
blocks.
like that one right there.
Yep, there you go. So you can still see in places on mine where I've scratched it or whatever, you can see through the paint where the original stuff, the original color is still there.
And pull up a 62 Galaxy, Josh.
Galaxy?
Yeah.
Yeah, a
That's-
Ford, 62 Ford Impala. Yeah, that's what everybody calls it. Like every car show, these people would come up like, "Man, that's
Yeah.
a slick Impala. I used
So
to have
I
one just
usually-
like it."
Well, I mean, were those vehicles popular?
They were.
Okay.
Well, so it's crazy. You'll have, your Ford nuts will say, Ford was already working on this concept of the car, and then Chevy's same thing with the Impala. They were definitely looking over each other's shoulders for
Okay.
sure, because the styling lines and everything about them, they are very similar. So for somebody that's untrained to that, you definitely will. I mean, first reaction, Impala is going to be much more popular vehicle, so they're automatically going to associate that. Like, "Oh, that's a nice Impala." Like,
Yeah.
cool, well, it's not, but I understand what you're getting at.
Oh, I love giving you shit about it.
Oh, I can't.
What are
go.
y'all's thoughts on the like hard top, like hard body, like versus a soft, like a drop top on those older models? Like,
I'm extremely particular when it comes to my vehicles, and I only recommend those who are the same way. That's why I always recommend SBC Autos. They take pride in their inventory, from badass four-wheel drives, clean classic cars, and even your everyday grocery getters. They have it all. No hassle, no BS. SBCautos.com.
I mean, I feel like since you guys drive, you're going to be more wanting a top on you. You know what I mean? Like you actually driving the
I mean,
thing.
dude, the convertibles are
God, they're so
fucking
badass.
hot shit. They're awesome. I mean, definitely the style is 100% no questions asked. I mean, the convertibles, that's where it's at.
What does Putt have? What is his?
Putz, he's got a 59.
59 Impala.
Yeah, and
just
it's a convertible.
just type in rarest U.S. car in the world, you'll find it.
That's it. That's it.
The
Yeah.
fact that he has it and it's a
And his is
convertible.
Oh
his
my
is blue
God.
with the drop top, dude,
Yeah.
and it is. I mean, all y'all's vehicles are badass, but when I saw that in person,
Putz on another level.
yeah, when I saw that in person, man, oh man, I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah.
That car like they killed those dudes and Boys in the Hood in, like.
I can't remember.
I don't remember what year
was
one.
this one. Hold on.
I don't
think
know.
That was the exact car. That was Doughboy's car.
I don't know if it was 59 though.
It might have been a 64.
Yeah,
Could have been.
probably was
Yeah.
64.
Dude, those freaking trunk fans, though, man. Oh, my God.
Oh, I know.
I don't know
There's
how you
something-
can make metal
like-
sexy, but there
Yeah,
you go.
that's. I think that was more than anything what it was. I'd never seen one in person, like ever.
Yeah.
Like because it's so rare. Like and yeah, you see them pop.
63.
Yeah, 63. So
Yeah.
yeah. So seeing that in person, man, and what they did with those, it's funny too because they brought those cars back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And they put hydraulics on everything and started
Yeah.
doing that on the West Coast, and they completely changed the entire
Oh yeah, that's a culture.
look
of its
and
own,
feel
for
of what,
sure.
because all y'all's cars are dropped and leveled, huh? Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
so
I'm static. You're on.
yeah,
there.
I'm on air. A lot of that's all on hydraulics and juice.
Right.
But
But you have the hydro, which is the air guys, and that's like a whole ordeal
yeah,
too.
it is, and you do
It's
you
two
have
different end goals. I think it's not really the same, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's depends on what you're going for.
Right.
You've definitely got your different markets from, if you go back to, you got your low riders and you've got your mini trucking scene is another huge scene.
Dude, I was into
when
that
we
shit
were
in high
growing
school.
up, that
shit
was huge.
yeah, that was
That's
fucking
what
cool,
everybody
bro.
was doing.
Everybody wanted that drop down single cab S10 or
Yep.
Dakota or whatever with a
Yep.
big ass motor in it.
Yep.
God, man.
Yeah, so you've definitely, and when we go to these shows, there's a category for everything and there's a class for everything, but even if it's not your cup of tea, you appreciate the engineering that they've put into something like that. Now, you'll have people that go to those shows and like, God, those things are hideous. That's ugly. Well, might not be your taste,
Right.
but appreciate that dude's got over $100,000 in that thing easily.
I'm guilty of, like, I don't really, like, we market as a business and stuff, so I'm always looking at social for business, but I never really look at it for my personal, like, any kind of personal gain. So I'm never really scrolling looking at personal stuff. But I'm bad about getting on Marketplace, bro, because I will just look and I save shit. I save shit like acting like I'm telling myself maybe I might buy. I'm not buying that shit, but I want it in my little folder just to feel like I got a little piece of it, you know.
And then when
I'll go pull it up. I'm like, look at this shit, man.
Yeah. And then when it sells, you're like, oh
Man, I should have reached out to that dude. I'll see random shit like now. Like I saw like a dropped S10 Blazer that was completely I was like, this motherfucker bad. I just put it saved on that bitch. Like, I'm not buying that thing. What the fuck am I gonna do with that, dude?
No.
But I love that, dude. There's so many rare finds out there, and I do like that now we're all in there. Like you said, y'all used to like find them on Craigslist. That's like a day of the past now, but you used to have to do that, or just driving and trying to find those pasture or barn finds that that you could start with. Like I want a '55 Chevy truck because my grandpa and I talked about building one when I was younger. And I'd always wanted to build one, and I would look at those. I'm sure y'all did too. You get those trucking magazines, so I mean, you got those things, boy. You look through those, and that '55 Chevy was just what I was wanting, man. And I just haven't taken the leap to buy a body yet, and then start the whole process because I want an Excursion, like a 2000 Excursion. I love those too. You know, like there's so much shit I want. It's really like I don't even know where I want to start or what vehicle. I know like getting a 55 and starting it from the ground up is going to be like a 5-year project. Whereas I know I could get something like an earlier 90s model, like the fucking extended cab Z71. It's like I'd love to have one of those right now. You know, the ones everybody had in high school.
Oh man,
dude, I would love to have one of those.
That's the telling part too. Is like that's the stuff that's considered classic now.
Yeah, I know.
Like, God, really?
And
already?
like finding one of those would be easier than going all the way to take one from scratch. Like, but I don't know, man. I think one day I'm probably gonna have 20 or 30 of them. It's just,
dude, it doesn't take long.
Oh, I can only imagine, man. I think that I think what you guys are doing though is cool. I think that like bringing this stuff to light and actually getting people to talk about what their stories are behind these things, because it is like for some people, and I understand that it's just a means. Yeah, there's a 55, dude. Oh yeah, I fucking love those.
That's
dude.
probably one
and
of
I'm
my
always on
favorite
the
years
fence of like I used to want red, but now I think I would do it black.
Dude, the cameos are so badass.
Yeah,
it's like Chevy's version of the
that right
unibodies,
there.
sort of. But it's like it's like
a cameo.
car mixed with truck.
Yeah.
It's like the best of both worlds. They're badass.
What's it called?
The Chevrolet Cameo.
Yeah, shout out to
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Customs,
So yeah. So yeah, nobody. They're pretty much the name of the game around here right now.
Yeah. So they just built. Nobody Customs just built a Cameo that is. Dude, that thing's immaculate.
Does he have it posted yet?
Yeah, it's on.
Will you
it's
pull
on
that
his
up?
page.
Will you pull that up? Nobody's Customs on Facebook. The Cameo. So that's a mix of. What would you say that would be a mix of? Like a 55 Chevy front end.
Well, they kind of blended some of the styling of the cars of the same year or the era into that, because you've got like
Oh fuck! There it is. Yes.
the swoop down the side, and then the interior, your gauges and all.
Yeah, I mean,
thing is
he was
bad.
doing like so it's like a burgundy and a tan.
Yeah, it's like a cream white color with like it's got burgundy
gonna be on-
accents.
it's gonna be
it.
on Instagram.
and it's original paint too.
You got to pull it on the Instagram. Yes, if you're over. But yeah, I feel like I've seen those in magazines and stuff too, or I say magazines. I haven't looked at magazines in fucking 20 years, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
Like I remember seeing those, and guess I didn't know. I was just assuming it was a straight body version of whatever model, like what was that 55 considered?
What do you mean,
A
like
55 Chevy truck? Was it considered like was that a C? That wasn't a C10. It was like a.
No, those were the what was it, the 3100 series?
Yeah, 3100. That's what it was. 3100. Yeah. I was just assuming that must have been like a 3100 straight fleet side or whatever. I didn't know.
It's wild, and the lines that they put on it with that. It's just
let me ask y'all.
Let
me ask you a pivotal like a game changing question. And what's your? All right, so we're talking late model Chevy pickup truck, straight or step side?
Straight.
Yeah,
straight if it's four-wheel drive, step side if it's two-wheel drive, right? Come on.
You got to factor that in. I say yes.
That's where I'm at on it.
I don't like the modern attempts of the step side. To me, they don't really do it justice, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's I mean, in my brain, when I think step side, it's a skinny bed with a bubble fender.
Yeah.
And the modern step side was just like a fiberglass body that just kind of did it in at the front and the back.
It makes sense. Yeah. The Lightning. That's a good example.
I think those are going to be one of those that I was talking about. The ones that they were cool or still are cool, and then 30, 40 years on the road, that's going to be a hot item.
That thing's going to be worth $250,000. Easy. Like those things.
Those what was it, the Harley Davidson edition ones too?
Dude, I fucking love those.
Yeah.
I like the Harley Davidson edition. Yes, the F-150. Yeah, those. And then they had the F-250 Harley Davidson, which is badass.
I remember being I think it was probably like sophomore year of high school. There was somebody. What's the general store there in Dubberly? But there was always a black Lincoln Brookwood truck. Wasn't it a Brookwood?
Yeah,
what was that?
no, it wasn't a Brookwood.
No, it's not called Brookwood.
The Lincoln. It looks like an F-150.
Lincoln truck.
Is it Blackwood?
It's not. It's something like that. Blackwood or something.
What's the one the Ford was called though? It wasn't an F-150. The Ford had a name for it, and then Lincoln did the higher end.
So it's very similar
It's
to
a
that
Lincoln
same
truck.
body style. Yeah, Lincoln truck.
What year?
Like 2000.
2002, 2003,
Yeah.
something like that. Nah,
There it is,
there
Blackwood.
Blackwood.
Yeah.
Top right.
Yeah, so it had like the pinstripes on it.
Yeah, that shit was cool,
I was
boy.
obsessed because like I've always been drawn to like
And all it
different.
was is just a crew cab F-150,
Yeah,
right?
that's all it was.
With some different
with just
body
different
details.
accents,
Yeah.
different grill.
Had a lot of the same stuff as the Navigator.
Yeah, but yeah, it was the same thing. Yeah.
It's crazy how you don't see stuff. They don't do that anymore, though. And I mean, that's not like that was forever ago, 2000.
You know what they do that I'm tired of fucking seeing is 5011 fucking Challenger mods. It's like a fucking Super Bee,
Challenger,
Rumblebee, fucking Hellcat. Like, dude.
They're just making up for the fact that the Mopars that were cool back then, there weren't enough of them. So now they're going to make a shit ton of them so that when, our great grandkids are into the Mopar shit, there'll be plenty to choose from.
There's so many. Like every time I turn around, every time I turn around, there's a different version of the Challenger or the Charger. I'm just like, holy shit, man! How many times are you ever gonna do this? Like, oh yeah. I mean, you're not. That's the thing, man. You're never gonna be able to touch that. Those 20 or 30 years of craftsmanship. You're just not gonna be able to, because like between the 50s and the 70s, man. Like I don't care who you are. You can go pre 60s or pre 50s, but it's not. You ain't doing it, bro.
Doesn't the new one, the EV, doesn't it have like a button you can press to make it sound like a V8?
Or exhaust noise.
Yeah, they're doing all that shit now.
How fucking tacky is that shit? Hey, let me push my button real quick and make it sound like I have a motor.
What do y'all think about EVs?
Or an engine, I guess.
What do you think about it? Like, 'cause it's inevitable, right, that we're going to have them, you know?
Dude, I mean, if the Tesla wasn't so fucking ugly.
Oh, it's so bad.
Them things
Even the
haul
truck's
ass,
They're
though.
impressive.
They're bad.
Oh, yeah.
impressive.
The truck's horrible, though. Like, it looks ugly, too. But
They didn't really
cool.
make that, did they?
Yeah, it's out.
Yeah, they
it's
did.
out. Yeah, it's
That
out.
Cybertruck
out.
thing.
Holy shit.
It was funny is I put a deposit on one. You could do a reservation.
You talking about the one that looks like a fucking stealth fighter?
Yeah,
There you go.
it's out. So that's it. It is out right now.
It looks like a fucking tent with wheels on it.
So I did
It's like the Halo Warthog.
The Rover.
I did it. Yeah.
The Coleman 3000.
So, like, probably in 2020, they did a reservation where you reserve your build. So I did it. It was $100, and I still have that. And they're like, you can sell that, but now it's not as. But I could have sold it like 2 years ago to someone, and probably for $2 or $3 grand just to reserve it.
Really?
So I still have that, but now submitting it really doesn't matter because they're building them.
Yeah.
They're constantly building them now. But like, it's funny because I was like, I'm just gonna get this and maybe it'll be worth something. But that vehicle, I was looking at. Will you pull up the stats on that towing test? They did a towing test recently. It's like Tesla towing. It will be the truck. No, it's gonna be the truck towing with and then how long the battery life held up. Because I was looking at a study recently about that, and That's what they're gonna have to figure out.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like I still see him
because it will pull the fuck out of something. So
I have no desire for that.
no, there's some kind of, you might have to look for the article. There's some kind of article that talks about like it actually not being able to make the real life towing. There it is. It's a real life. So I can't. Let's see here. We'll run through that. All right. So Cybertruck went 115 miles using up to 100% of its battery pack. Of course, it dwindles to approximately 87 miles when used 75%. Yeah. So once the battery percentage lowers, then the towing capacity lowers.
Yeah.
So it's not like when you pull a trailer in a gasoline engine, you can pull it the same capacity, the same load, without affecting any, using any more.
It's not really
it's not like when you're
an option to start off with a trailer and something loaded on it, and you have to throw shit off as you're going down the road.
Well, essentially, it's an electric shaver, basically. So
yeah, it's exactly what it is.
down.
Because like if you put gas in your tank and you get to half a tank, you're still pulling at the same efficiency you were at one full tank. Whereas with this, you're not. So that's what they're going to have to figure out, because they're not going to be efficient. And I think we're a ways away from that. But putting them on the road and advertising that they'll pull 14,000 pounds is great.
Yeah.
But
for how
you're not going to pull it very long. 100 miles.
Yeah. And then where's your nearest charging station? Like
that too. And people argue the fact that you can do it at home. That's cool. But like that just means for interstate travel, it's going to be hard.
Limited.
Yeah. But
you don't. I feel like it's kind of I don't know, the way they're pushing it so hard. It's like, but they're not pushing. You don't see fucking electric 18-wheelers trying to haul our shit across the country. It's not. You can't do that.
It's all personal vehicles. So.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Now, but then we have hydrogen coming along too. I don't know if y'all looked at that, but that's the thing too. We're working on, and that's a little more feasible because you're using water.
I mean, it's awesome. The concept is crazy. I can only imagine what people that were born in way back when the shit we're driving now that's cool. If somebody would have said electric car back then, they'd be like, "What?"
Yeah.
Well,
if even someone said that you're going to have a TV in your car.
Oh yeah.
Every car has a TV in it now.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, a screen. Whereas when we were kids in high school, we didn't think that was even going to be a thing.
No.
We didn't think that. I mean, the screens that were in there were nothing like what we would have never. First off, the iPhone had just come out. We'd never thought that we'd have a physical iPad as our dashboard on our vehicle.
I remember. I thought we were living. My buddy, his dad, and them. They had a Suburban that had like the bread box TV in the back.
Yeah.
And they had the phone in the deal too.
Dude.
He worked for the government, didn't he?
That damn what's they called, excursion vans or whatever they call it. They had the packages on them.
The Regencies or whatever.
Dude, those things were the shit, man.
It was literally like a mobile home on wheels. I mean, you had all your shit in there, like the reclining chairs. and stuff.
Captain seats, the damn TV up top with the damn VCR or whatever in it.
Cup holders,
Damn lights, boy, them lights.
The big wing on the top of it.
Oh hell yeah, dude! Hell yeah.
Gotta have that.
No, it's just, man, it's something that like I geek out on that shit, and I can talk about it forever. And I can look at vehicles. That's why, like, even at these car shows, I won't go. I'll just stay kind of centrally located because I'll get there and I'll just start looking at shit, and I'll be thinking about what of this, and I'm just like, and then you want to ask them about, well, why'd you do this? Why'd you change this but keep that this way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why'd you change the heads on it? But whatever, like with your carburetor here, why'd you do full injection on this or whatever, man? That's another thing about it. There's so many. I remember being a nerd, like I couldn't afford no modifications for my truck. And y'all are probably the same way when you were younger, but you looked that shit up. Man, if I did have some money, man, I'd lower it, man, and I'd put this high-rise intake on it, and I put this cold air injection. I barely had enough money to get gas. But I'd be looking at it, building a wish list, man.
Yeah. We were talking about that 85 Toyota that I have. You don't remember when I roll around on fucking Cheerios all 4 years of high school?
Dude, those were like 10s on that thing.
I had like fucking little bitty tires on them.
No, but hunting season, you put them big-ass tires on it for like 1 month. I was like, oh, shit.
No, Dad put those tires on.
He put them. Yeah, you couldn't afford to, yeah. I remember the big-ass tires going on. I was like, oh, shit, it's hunting season stuff. But yeah, dude, I ended up buying dude, I'll talk about this. I've never talked about this before. So I was a fucking idiot, like most of us were. 16 years old. So my grandpa helped me get a Jeep. I had a 99 Jeep Wrangler, and I was paying, and he helped me out and helped me get it, and I was paying for it. And then I had a four-wheeler that I bought too. I had a damn Jolly Rancher, a Honda Rancher, nice four-wheeler. It was damn Jolly orange, you know. And then I had like a blue 99 Jeep Wrangler. I drove the shit out of that thing, man. It was four-cylinder.
I remember the Jeep.
You remember that? It was four-cylinder. I put a hard top on it. My dumb ass decided I was going to trade that Jeep for a night. You remember that lifted up 67 C10 that was in what's his name's pasture for the longest time? It was Rocco, Ken Holly's pasture.
Yeah.
That I don't know if you ever remember that truck, that red truck. So it was another buddy of Ken's. Ken's got it and was going to help him work on it. Whatever, sitting in Ken's pasture. It ran. So I went and got it. It had a 383, had a cam, all this shit done to it. It had nitrous on it. My dumb ass traded a 99 Jeep Wrangler for this 1967 truck that had a 12-inch lift on it. Had 38-inch.
Not
an economical vehicle.
No, well, that thing was like a barn fab lift. Like it wasn't even like a.
Yeah,
that thing was set up for like mud racing.
Yeah, but it had a brand new paint job on it. It had nitrous in it, and it looked badass. It had a Hirsch slap shifter. I got in this thing. As soon as I started, I got the carburetor adjusted, started driving, drove it across interstate towards Minden. It starts catching on fire. No. That's wrong. Wrong story. I drove it to the gas station, go to crank it up, and I'm trying to get the carburetor adjusted, and then it started catching on fire. You know, a carburetor do. Yeah. So pretty much. So then got it running. Then driving it around another couple days. The shifter cable on those Hirsch are bad about like seizing up.
Yeah.
So I just had to take the fucking shifter cable off. So I just left that truck and drive all the time. So I just would start it. So I'd park at Lakeside and I'd start that bitch where I could bust a U-turn in it. So I had that truck, dude. I had it for about 2 weeks and I was coming back across the interstate towards Sibley from Minden and it threw a fucking rod. So I got rid of a 1999 Jeep Wrangler that had 50,000 miles on it. Had air conditioning, everything.
Usable vehicle.
For that fucking truck. So I was a fucking idiot. Around that same time, also, I had traded my four-wheeler for another truck that Ken had. And Ken didn't, I think Ken had it. He didn't chalk me into none of this shit. This was my dumbass bright idea of just seeing it out there. And thinking that it was, of course, it had been an amazing project, but unrealistically knowing I didn't have the fucking money to. Yeah. So I got an 84, he had an 84 solid. That was the first year of fuel injection. Last year was solid axle, Toyota.
The 85 was a solid axle.
But it still had so mine had a front solid axle and it had fuel injection.
Yeah.
So I got it, but the head it needed a new head. So we got it tore down, and so I had a truck. I'd done that before I did the Jeep trade, and so I had a truck here with a head taken off of it that I needed a new head on that I didn't have the money to get the head shaved down and rebuilt and put back together. And then I had another truck with a blown engine that was a show truck. I mean, you know, whatever the fuck.
You're running out of drivers, man.
I had no vehicles. So I went from having a reliable ATV and a reliable vehicle to having two broke down fucking vehicles. And then I just like with my tail tucked go to my dad. I'm like, man, is there any way? He had a fucking 1994 Ford Explorer, Eddie Bauer edition. It was nice. It was a little full drive. It was a Ford Explorer. I was like, is there any way that you could help me out? He's like, all right, I'm going to take both of those and I'm going to sell them. And then, you know, then I'll take that. You can have this. So I never really talked about that to anybody. I told a couple people that, but like, dumb, bro. Dumb.
That's
dumb.
That's how you learn, though.
Yeah.
God, I mean, we could go on for days on those stories.
That's the
well, the worst part is like, why, dude? Like, just what the fuck's in your head to think? I don't know, man. It just unrealistic expectations, I guess. You know, just thinking, oh, well, I'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
at the same time.
That was my first vehicle. Was a '96 Toyota Tacoma. Short, like 2-door, standard, tiny ass truck. And I remember I was set. Back then, everybody had lifted trucks.
Yep.
You had an F-150, a Tacoma.
You had to.
So that's all my mind was on. My grandfather had a 66 C10 fleet side that he kept telling me, you know, this is going to be your truck when you're old enough. We'll rebuild it, paint it, whatever you want to do to it. Well, at that age, I was just like, no, I don't want that truck. That truck's old. It's been sitting there. I've seen it my whole life. I don't want that. Fast forward to about 19, 20 years old, and I'm like, hey, that truck, do you still got that? He goes, yeah, come with me. I'll show you where it's at. I sold it to a guy down the road from me. So we get in the truck and drive down there. Turn around the corner, and there's the biggest pine tree you've ever seen that has just split it. Dead center, caved it in. And I was like, what happened there? He goes, well, after you decided you didn't want it and you swore to me you had no interest in it, I sold it to this guy that was working for me. He said, and the storm came through and blew that pine tree over, and he said, there's the truck. And I was like, cool. So yeah, I kick myself all the time for that. Over a 96 Tacoma. Like, no, I'm good.
Do y'all remember that was it a C10 that CC had?
Oh yeah. That was
James.
That was a Love, wasn't it?
Was it? No, it wasn't a Love.
C10.
It was C10.
I think
That blue one?
Yeah, so
yeah.
James had that built for him, his grandpa.
I think it was a 69 or a 70.
Yeah,
it
that
had
thing
the
was-
silver, the solid bar
Yeah.
across
That
the
thing was
That was
beautiful. It was beautiful, man.
Yeah, CC was hot stuff when he had that. I
Oh
remember,
yeah.
like,
I remember riding that motherfucker.
when he pulled
like,
up and down, I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
It just
Dude, that
changed
truck-
the game.
That truck Daniel had was badass.
Yeah.
Who?
Daniel Anderson.
What did he have?
That dark
86.
blue top and bottom with a white in the middle, that square body. Had like the
I don't guess I ever saw that one.
had like the, I don't know what you call
What
them, the
motor?
aluminum
Yeah.
blade wheels. I really don't know what it was in. Maybe a 383. It was a stout truck.
Is that a Honda hydrogen car? So that is that out right now? Honda
Yeah, the
fuel cell clarity comes loaded with
Yeah. It's kind of like a Civic.
But I think that's the next stage, and people have been talking about this and arguing the electric over hydrogen. The electric, like, you don't have the grid, you don't have the sustainability. Like, there's all these different states lobbying for these different governing things to change. But the thing with electric is, it's just, I don't think, especially for like hauling and moving things, like the torque's there, the power's there, but it's just not sustainable.
No.
But if you go hydrogen, as long as you have the elements to make it work with the fuel cell and the water and everything. I really don't know how we could go another way.
You don't end up with the degradation in performance or capability.
Right. But also you don't have to mine lithium.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because that's the one thing, like, if they're talking about we're doing these things because we're going green and we're helping the environment, clearly what we have to do to have an electric vehicle is not environment friendly.
It's just like vegans, man. It's like
That's a black hole.
it's like it's like
a
if
fucking
we
black
could go
hole.
we could go down that thing. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. It's like it takes more. You're tearing up more environment to create more like batteries for things, or to create more food that's supposed to be sustainable as a replacement for meat. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's all an agenda, brother.
This is why we should go back to nuclear.
Exactly.
There's a lot of benefits in nuclear too. It's just the things that we decided to use it for was unfortunate and put a bad bad stain on what that
That's even,
stands
like,
for.
the hydrogen stuff. Every time, like, for the previous years, you hear anybody coming out with hydrogen powered this or that, they just end up suicided or something.
They just
What happened to that guy? Well, he created.
What else? Scientist, is that the one that with the hydrogen, the one that got that he ended up just having a heart attack randomly or died of food poisoning or something.
And then, like, the one that came right behind him did the same thing. Then
we know that, right?
Yeah.
Stanley Meyer, Death and Denial. Yeah. So we know that though. There's always the powers that be that control everything, and it's going to run its course. But it is cool too, and that's another thing. Like, you cannot replicate the sound of a gas motor, man. No. Like, or even like it being like high RPMs, like NASCAR, like, or you're at the dirt track. Like, you can't replicate that sound and that smell.
It's probably,
it's horrible, but
very,
it's like,
very tacky to some people that don't understand it.
They don't get it. We're just a bunch of rednecks talking shit.
There's no, like you said, there's no replacement for the sound and the smell at the same time. I don't know why. It's just.
Well, I've noticed that even pumping gas lately. Like, you have all the ethanol and everything, so it's like
it's not the
even
same.
when it's not the same. We're not getting as much brain damage, bro.
Circle K sells.
Non-ethanol. Yeah. Oh yeah. When I put in the T100. Are y'all running non-ethanol in your stuff?
I do.
You like so I was about to say, 'cause I don't even know how those run on.
Well, the Cypress Shack just opened up right there by the house, and they've got non-ethanol 91.
It still don't smell the same though, dude.
No.
I think it's still tainted. Like, I remember when you would fill up your damn tank and you're like, holy shit, I gotta stand back a little bit. Like, you can't smoke no fucking cigarette around that shit. Like, now you can sit there and smoke a cigarette right by your pump. Dude, I wouldn't light no cigarette next to no gas pump 20 years ago, man. There's no fucking way, man. If you did that shit, you were living on the edge, bro.
Yeah.
I know a lot of
Taking
motherfuckers.
hella chances.
But no, dude. I mean, yeah, there's something about that especially like race fuel, like when you're running that jet fuel, like that high octane fuel and those motors and
Methanol. Well, I mean, it depends on what you got. The methanol.
Yeah.
That's what, you know.
And they're turning 6,000 RPMs constantly, and it's just man, you can't ever replicate that. No fucking little setting on electric vehicle is gonna make that give you that feeling or that feeling of just the torque under you. You know, like it's like. Yeah, I know we're probably 10 years away from that being, we're probably 20 years away from that being a thing of the past. Like whatever way we go, I mean, we're probably not going to be able to go run into any gas station anywhere and fill our vehicles up. I don't think
so. That's a sad
dude,
thought,
I know,
man.
but it's just like, think about it, man.
Definitely
like,
where they're trying to head with it.
no matter what direction we go, if we go hydrogen, like one day, like all these vehicles we have, we'll have to convert them or do something, you know. I have seen where they've been doing some electric conversions, like have y'all seen that where the old cars putting them on electric chassis?
Oh yeah,
That's some wild shit too.
They
They did
what was that, a F-100 at SEMA a couple of years ago that they built like that.
They did that. They did like a 50 or maybe it was a 60 earlier 60s model Chevrolet pickup like that. That I think GM or Chevrolet Performance got behind, and they put like a crate package together for the EV setup. It was pretty nasty.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do, man. Especially when you don't have that many gears and drive trains to rob torque and power from you. If you're just going from motor to wheel, it's hard to deny that.
Oh yeah.
But still, there's something about spinning off fucking drive shafts. You know what I mean? Like
Sitting there listening to
popping a clutch.
A fine-tuned big block just thumping away. It's like, oh yeah, that's where it's at.
Yeah, or trying to get that cam just right.
Well, that's even going like your old motors to your LS's and your Coyotes and stuff. Everything's so much more electrical.
Yeah,
and you're running into more. It's not as user friendly.
Well, you have turbos, you have superchargers. Like you can't just go in there like a crate 350. Like I think that's always going to be the most sought after motor, right? A crate motor, because you can do anything with it and put it damn near anything.
And if anything happens while you're traveling, it's user friendly. You can assess those issues and fix that problem way quicker than you can if this goes out on that and you're stuck.
Well, what's like? Are you like a hardcore Ford? You hardcore Chevy guy? Like, do y'all get in disputes about this?
Nah.
And everything?
I give him shit about it.
There's so many people like that they use. Isn't that funny? It's kind of like politics. Like they use that to identify themselves. So like, oh, that's fucking Ford piece of shit. I'm like, do you have stock in the company? Like, what the fuck do you care, man?
The Chevy crowd is way larger, and that's pretty much any show we go to. And the Ford crowd is, I mean, they're finally the Ford trucks, the F-100s and all that. They're making a huge comeback right now because nothing again. I don't have a dog in the fight, but the Chevy, if you go to these shows, the Chevy market, I mean, it's saturated.
Right.
There's a ton of.
Well, what hot Ford? I guess what hot Ford car models do you have?
Outside of the Mustang, I mean,
The Thunderbird,
T-Birds,
Fairlane,
yeah, like
But
there's a lot, but it
60s.
wasn't as commercially popular, I guess you would say. Like, for what's on, I guess, like culturally, your Impalas and all that stuff cornered the market on a lot of stuff, and then your Cadillacs and Lincolns and all that. But
you gotta break it down in timeline though, because if you really want to go back, way back, when you think of the Model T. No, when you see a car that looks like a Model T, I don't give a shit what it is, a Plymouth, a Chevrolet, whatever. When you see one of those, you automatically think Model T.
Right.
Because, I mean, like what everybody uses for the old rat rods now.
Right.
Yeah.
When you see that body style, that line, that coupe, or sedan, I guess that was a sedan, I'll automatically think of the Model Ts. So, I mean, you got to, at that point, Ford was, that was it, the Ford. Everybody else was following in the footsteps. And then it kind of, you jump through this era and this era, and it kind of goes back and forth. But it's a
game for sure.
It's entertainment to me whenever you find somebody that's dedicated and like die hard one way or the other just to fuck with them just cause.
Yeah, it's a Falcon. I forget about those.
Oh, yeah.
Those are
The dirty bird.
We've got my wife. We're waiting on it, but we've got a '63 Falcon in the works right now.
Y'all looking? You shopping?
I've got
Oh,
it.
you have it?
Yeah.
See, he's a Ford guy. He's trying to act like he's not.
Well, like different. I don't like to go to
So
the
you
show.
have a Falcon. So what where you at on this thing?
So it is actually, it was picked up by my biological dad. So while I was working on the Galaxy, he picked that up from a buddy he worked with, and he started working on it. He actually took it to Cruising the Coast for 1 year, had it up and running and stuff. But since then, between work and all kind of other issues, it's just been kind of sitting. Well, this whole time, I'm nearing the end of working on my car. I've got it to where I'm good. I say that, but
You're always
for the most part. But my wife,
I'm gonna hold on. Let me record that.
Yeah.
we have recorded.
My wife is itching. She wants something. And that car, the minute he got that car, I was more infatuated with that car. Dude, the smaller cars like that are so freaking cool to me. I love different. I love that if you pull that into a show.
What's it have in it? A V6?
A little inline
Or inline 6, yeah.
Inline 6. But if you pull that into a show, chances are you're not going to see another one there.
Right.
And it draws a crowd. But to make it even sweeter, this car has like the perfect surface rust patina job on it. And right now it's just sitting. So we're about to pick that up and hopefully start tinkering with that.
and it's a manual.
Oh, shit.
It's so awesome.
It's badass.
So I tell my wife it's hers, but
It sounds like she's getting a Galaxy.
no, she hates it. She hates the Galaxy. It's too big.
Yeah. Oh, man, I was thinking about, we were talking about, like, I remember, I think it was 03. You might have to check that, Josh, but I'm pretty sure Mustang came out with the new body style, but it was replicating the old body style. I don't know if y'all remember that. It might have been 02. Nah.
I remember the
Was
one.
it 05? I don't know. Just put first year body style changed over. When that came out,
Yeah.
I was excited.
Yeah.
Because I was like, holy shit, they're taking it back to look like what the original Mustang looked like.
This one's my favorite.
Oh, so it was 05. You've got me. You didn't. No, I hate that one.
Well, it's because I love Mustang.
Yeah, you got me. But when they did the 05, I just remember saying, holy shit.
They did it.
We're doing something.
Yeah.
Like, I got excited and I didn't even like Mustangs. Like, I just was like, that looked like the, the 60s models Mustang.
And you see a lot of those same body lines in the Challengers and Chargers too.
Right, and they did the same thing. And so the Challenger they came with the Charger and the Challenger. Well, Charger really didn't even land, but the Challenger, when they did that, when they come not far behind that, they did the same thing. It was another like, holy shit, this is exciting, right?
Yeah.
But then now it's just been like they've beaten it to death, and then they've pretty much completely changed that from that. But that something about that, man, something about the same thing talking about the Bronco, like that shit. They've been talking about bringing that back for like 3 or 4 years, and I've been excited. I was so excited to see it, and then when they come out, I was just like, okay. Then the Jeep people start getting them and they're fucking with them. I'm like, okay, well now this is a big Jeep, because they're fucking. When those Jeep people get a hold of shit, and I'm Jeep people too, so I can talk shit.
Yeah.
When they get a hold of stuff, man, they just fucking run. They just take it a whole other direction. You're like, damn, now I don't even want to fuck with it anymore.
But then if you want to get on the Chevy crowd, you can pull up the modern Chevy Blazers.
Oh God, what a
that have
fucking catastrophe.
What they're talking about bringing.
Great job, GM. Great.
They're talking about bringing the K5, right?
Idiots.
Aren't they talking about bringing out the new the K5 though?
Yeah.
I hope
have
they do
seen-
some kind of redemption,
I have
because
seen
that
some
shit right
renderings on
there,
that.
Oh, that's horrible. Like
the
they're talking
Blazer,
Yeah.
like you shouldn't even put Blazer on the side of that.
Well, that's what they did. It's basically a fancier S10 Blazer,
I see that and I automatically think that the person driving it has to be named Karen.
Clean my ass, dude.
It's fucking Karen's car.
I want the K5. I want the K5, man. 'Cause my dad had one, dude. My dad had a K5 and it was rattle can camo. It was badass.
Makes it even better.
Fucking badass,
Heck yeah.
dude. But I remember, like, what else? The same thing with Chevy. What year did this new body style of the Chevy Camaro come out? It followed suit.
2010?
It followed suit. Was it that late?
Are you talking about like?
I'm talking about Bumblebee, Transformer when they
Yeah.
came out.
Yeah.
So they took them 5 years following what Ford's trend, and like I guess to follow suit for that trend, and I guess Challenger came right behind that. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't know, when that came out, when the Camaro came out, I was like, damn, nice.
Yeah.
They fucking did it. You know?
I like the 96, 97 Camaros, like the yard dart looking
Bro,
ones.
so look, there's this, I don't even, all right, so there was this person we went to school with, and they had a 1994 Z28.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't, it was when I was at Halton, and dude, that thing was immaculate. It was completely redone, painted, interior, like, oh man, that thing was so badass.
Yeah.
Like I remember driving that thing. It was black, and The only thing I didn't like about it is it was automatic.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it would have been standard. But
Yeah.
You said you like the 97?
Yeah, like that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and the Firebird.
That's the
and
Firebird.
Yeah, those. Yeah, but the bad thing about that was, dude, they're just fucking cheap made.
Oh yeah,
Like,
but that
when you
was
get-
that was from like the '90s on.
Right,
though. I
right.
mean,
But when you get one of those now, you're like, fuck. Like, you don't want to push the button on the fucking radio
Yeah, yeah.
too much, or it's gonna fall out, you know. But like, when we were growing up, yeah, it was fucking badass. It was badass. But like, looking back at them now, I'm like, why did I like this? It's like
Yeah.
this shit's fiberglass and
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know, dude. I could sit here and talk about cars and shit all day long,
Oh, yeah.
man. I think that I think what you guys doing is cool, man. I think y'all need to keep doing it, man. I slowly see more and more people joining y'all's crew. How many people y'all have now? I guess you don't really keep a roster,
it's
but
crazy.
it's
Yeah,
kinda-
we used to. You've got like your regulars who are gonna show up no matter what, and then we've got the guys that are, their job and work schedules are a little more, intense, so they make it when they can. But collectively, I mean, it's probably around like this year at the trunk or treat, I think we had like 75
no
registered.
shit. You had that many? Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
And those
it's-
are all pretty much members, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, so many people ask us, how can we be a part of this? Give me your cell phone number, and I'll let you know. Like, it's that easy. Like, there's no, it's one big family, and I don't want the drama and the politics in it. We're here to have a good time. We're here to enjoy each other, and a reason to get these vehicles out and get them back on the road and enjoy it. Just
Yep.
find something to do.
Hey, bro, my LJ made 20 years today. Can I
Dude,
put it in now?
You're in. I told you that at the trunk.
I had to shoe in with the 96 Toyota, boy, but I was excited
I said,
about it. I was
hey,
like,
come
I'm going to be the
on,
only
you're
fucking
good.
Toyota here, man.
And you're welcome.
I'm
man.
working on an older one, man. But I like what y'all are doing, man. I like the slabs that show up. I like all the old stuff, man, and what the quality.
Yeah.
Even though you're not like charging dues or
Yeah.
doing all this political bullshit within the industry, the quality of like the people and the quality of the families that come out and the quality of the vehicles, man,
Oh, yeah.
is astounding to me. And I think it's because y'all created an open relationship in
Yeah.
this market, pretty much where it's like come and go.
That's what I was going to say. It kind of goes hand in hand with the way we've kind of styled or themed this whole deal, is because people can show up relaxed. I mean, there's no pressure. There's no nothing. I mean, you don't have to fit in. You don't have to. I mean, you just show up, man. It's that simple. Just show up.
Yeah, no, and there's not one person in the whole group of all these people that has showed up and we're like, that guy sucks. Like, it just hasn't been. So I don't know if that's just how it's meant to be, but we haven't had any situations. Like, it's easygoing people, and I think everybody's grown and mature about it. And I think that's a big part of it. Most
Yeah,
of
when
these
you don't
people-
have all that bullshit, and look, each to their own. If they like those kind of type of things, cool. But like,
Yeah.
when you don't have all that, it's kind of hard to really create any drama
Yeah,
because you don't have anything to build it around.
We keep saying it. This goes back to this, or you can say this about this. It's the same thing. When you do something and you start with the vision off the bat. It doesn't matter whether it's a fucking trophy category or this theme or that style or whatever. When you start off and you have division in the mix to begin with, it's like, all right, well, I mean, we're kind of setting ourselves up for failure here. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that's a telltale sign. Like, when we do these things, if that's the first question that's asked, what category, what trophies are going to be there, what awards.
Probably not the
Already
show.
lost.
Probably not the show for you.
Probably not it for
Yeah,
you.
it's probably in your cup of tea, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, just bring it. Well,
We'll give you a beer, maybe
see,
a cookie.
there you go. There you go. Hell yeah.
No doubt.
Well, let's wrap this thing up, guys. How does everyone find y'all on social media? If they want to, well, first, what are you got Instagram, Facebook?
So Instagram and Facebook mainly. That's just the two we
LA
operate on.
Classics, that's the tag?
Instagram is Louisiana_Classics.
Okay.
And then Facebook's Louisiana Classics Auto Club.
And then if they're interested in hitting you up, maybe
Man.
showing up, like, what do they need to do? Just go to the page?
You can go to the page, direct message the page, or if you know me, Kris Ryan, reach out, and we'll get things going.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for your time today,
Yeah,
guys.
appreciate you,
Enjoyed
man.
it, brother.
Thanks for having us.